So one thing that I'm scared of in terms of coming out to my mother is depriving her not only of grandchildren, but also depriving her of the chance to walk me down the aisle. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm I'm the only daughter she has, and if I were to not get married, like, I don't know, she just, like, that would be an event that she misses out on. And I wouldn't even worry about it for me, really. I mean, it just seems like something that she should be able to have. She should be able to give her daughter away to a man who loves her. Like, that's just traditional. And not to say she's traditional minded. I'm pretty sure she accepts gays and transgenders. It's just never come up in conversation. So I don't entirely know. I think she's heard of the term asexuality. I wouldn't entirely be opposed to marriage. I mean, actually, maybe. I don't know how I feel about it. But if I were to live with someone, let's say that, and being at a point where I'm friendly with his family, you know, um, I would just have an emotionally intimate relationship. I don't think I'd have a physically intimate relationship. And I think I've heard this be addressed by some of my friends before, where they're like, hey, it's weird if your parents are having sex and you hear it through the walls or like you walk in on them, but imagine them not having sex. That's even weirder. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to just pretend that no one I know has sex. You know, if I could just go around not having to deal with that, that'd be pretty good by me. It's just like it makes me uncomfortable. Like when you get down to it, it just, yeah, makes me uncomfortable. Coming out to my dad, I know my mom would probably understand it. Like, she'd accept it, definitely. My dad would be very, he would just, he wouldn't believe me. I know he'd be very confused. Yeah, he'd be like, what do you mean you don't have sexual urges? Then he'd have to talk with his daughter about sexual urges, so don't want to bring that up. Let's see. I know another one of the questions was, do you think coming out has to be a public or a private occurrence? Like, should you come out at work? I don't think it's necessary to come out, whether you're gay or lesbian or bisexual or what have you, in a work environment, because I don't think that's a place. I don't think personal life and work really come into conflict or should even come into contact with one another. But in the off chance that, say, a coworker is flirting with you, you're not okay with it, and you're offended to the point where you want to say, look, I'm not into you because I'm not sexually attracted to you, go for it. Like, it's your personal decision. If I were at my school and a coworker was asking me out to dinner, probably actually give it a chance because I'd want to get to know them better. But if they were sexually harassing me, I'd probably just report it and like not mention that I'm also asexual, so then that's also extremely offensive. Just because it would mean explaining what it is, explaining that yes, it exists, that yes, it's a legitimate sexual orientation. That's a lot of effort, man. Whoa. Or I could just say I have a low sex drive. But I've been questioning my sexuality ever since I've come to college because I feel that sexuality is composed of three different factors. See, I don't really think it's you're born this way or It's a choice. I don't think it's any of that. I think sort of a combination of three things. I think it's a combination of DNA, so biological influences. I think it's a combination of environment, so where you physically are, and then of outside influences. So sort of like the books you read, the movies you see, the celebrities that you see on TV. So, like social interactions. Um, so, because my environment has changed and I am now in the wonderful Sin City of college, with its sex and its drugs and its horrible dubstep, uh, I I feel a lot of pressure to change how I feel. Um, I feel like everyone's having sex. I know a lot of people are drinking. My campus is by no means a dry campus. Um, a lot of people smoke weed, like more than average smoke weed at my college, and I'm just a very straight edge individual. I'm I don't like drugs. Um, I don't know. I don't like influences where they could take control of my life or where I develop a dependency upon them. I feel like sex could also be that. So maybe it is just a matter of, oh, you haven't tried it yet. Once you do, you'll like it. But I don't want it to be the center of my life. I don't want to live from sexual encounter to sexual encounter. I don't want to be someone who wakes up the next morning and is like, ugh, I had sex with that person. Gosh, I was desperate. I mean, that's horrible. To be in such a state where you settle, or in such a state where you need someone else to physically be there for you, not even be there for you, to stimulate you, and then that makes up for emotional intimacy. See, I will always value emotional intimacy over physical intimacy. So maybe I can find a relationship that works out like that. Because what I find is, this is what happened with Quinn and myself, is that we replaced physical intimacy with emotional intimacy. So, kissing, making out, or whatever. Being whorish teenagers. We replaced emotional intimacy with being whorish teenagers. And I think that's ultimately what led to the downfall of our relationship, is we lost trust. But this isn't about, uh, you know, first breakup. This is, I don't know. I don't know what this is, to be honest. Right, I'm crushing on a guy currently. Um, yeah, his name is Paul, and Paul is a coworker of mine, so that's conflicting. He is a creative writing major, and so I feel that I'm mostly interested in him, in that sense of the word, being interested in him. I want to know more about him. I want to be friends with him. I want us to hang outside of work. I want to talk about poetry with him and like have picnics and just be romantic and stuff. But most guys want sex, so I don't know if Paul would want sex. And that really stinks. So that's the biggest thing for me, is that whenever I'm attracted to someone, I'm attracted to them personality-wise. Like, I want to get to know them better as a person. I want to be friends with them. And unfortunately, I'm in such a state where I believe that if you crush on someone and you want them physically and you want to date them, that you are valuing their physical body over who they are as an individual. And so, for example, a couple of my friends have found out that I have a crush on Paul. Atrocious. So much drama. Trying to get over having a crush on Paul. But if Paul were to find out that I had a crush on him, the first words out of my mouth would not be, oh, this is so embarrassing, or whoa, that's awkward, or hey, do you want to go on a date then? It would be, I'm sorry. I'd immediately feel like I'd offended him almost by wanting to date him. So that really stinks. And one of my coworkers, too, when she found out that I had a crush on Paul, She has a boyfriend, but she said, man, if I didn't have a boyfriend, I would totally have a crush on Paul too. I'm like, is that supposed to comfort me? Because now I feel like I'm invading on that love triangle. Clearly don't want to be stepping on those toes. And so, when it comes to, if someone else has a crush on the person that I'm crushing on, I immediately let them take over. I'm like, cool, good for you. Like, okay, whatever. It's your game, your field. You go play with that. Because someone else can give that other person a full relationship experience. Me? No. I'm just gonna be like there for emotional gain, for really long talks and snuggles and being boring, basically. Whereas like my coworker, they could like get it on. I really don't want to think about that. That's weird. Okay. So I haven't come out to anyone in college. I don't know if I plan to either. I mean, it is only my first year away, but maybe I should. But then at the same time, I don't know if that's how I actually feel. And if I were to come out, would that deter everyone from even asking me out? Because I'm not against dating. I'm not against relationships. I'm just against sex. So ultimately, I guess I don't know exactly what I'm doing with my life, and this spinning is to resemble chaos and confusion. But, so I don't really know what I'm doing with my life in terms of my sexuality. Don't plan on coming out because I don't want to tell people, hey, I'm totally asexual. Actually, no, I'm straight all along. Whoopsie daisy. Because that'll create more confusion. And confusion makes my head spin. Do you get it? I'm so punny, guys. So, basically, I don't really plan on telling anyone my sexuality. I guess, like, if I actually have someone approach me, requesting a date, or soliciting sexual stuff, then I'll bring it up. And then I'll say, no, kind sir, or madame, I would not like sexual stuff. No, thank you. And then, hopefully, though, I won't have to deal with that. And then I can just focus on being a good student and changing lives when I become a teacher.